Hi, this is James Melendez, James the Wine Guy, here to talk about the quality system in Italy specifically. We can talk about the others in other nation states, but you're going to find this predominant in the old world. And you'll find it everywhere from Spain, Portugal, all the way up to England. And yes, England does produce wines, all the way down to, you've seen that in Romania and everywhere in between. And these standards were developed because there was a desire in the marketplace to distinguish quality wines from maybe just a table wine or something that was just of a lesser quality. You couldn't always do so on price. You couldn't always figure that out. You could obviously see a higher price wine and not necessarily know that it was a guaranteed quality wine until you bought it and until you discovered it wasn't. And so these were self-imposed by each nation state. And you see different qualification systems. So in Italy, we'll start from the top going down to the bottom. So DOCG stands for Denominazione di Origine Controllata e Garantita, developed in 1992. Now, this was developed because it was felt that the DOC, the Denominazione di Origine Controllata, had too many districts, too many areas. And when you think of that, they wanted to get to a stricter qualification. So in this qualification set, with 32 regions, you have, or 32 designations, is probably the best way of saying that. You have strict standards, alcohol levels, production per hectare, and so forth. But you also have blind taste tests, and that is to bona fide that is a qualified DOCG wine. If it doesn't meet that test, then obviously it's not released. So we have some here, and so this is a Chianti Classico. So you see the markup here, DOCG right there, and then it's on the side would be the Chianti Classico. And here's another DOCG, and this is a wine that's coming from the Gavi di Gavi, and that's in the Piemonte. So it looks slightly different, but you're always going to see these bands on top. Now, this is a DOC wine here, and so on this one, you don't see that it has that, except it does give the Prosecco classification up here. So that is a DOC wine, so it'll be marked on the bottle itself, so DOC for the Prosecco. Now, you're going to see this IGT wine here. I'm just going through right away, just so that I don't forget about talking about them in this video. This is an IGT wine, so there's no band required for that. And so you see an IGT wine, so Indicazione e Geografia Tipica. Now these, going on to the next set, the DOC, as I just mentioned, a really large number, established in 1963, and 311 designations. So again, it's a strict standard of what is qualified as a DOC wine. IGT has lesser so qualifications, but it's still considered a quality wine, so you have 120 of them. And what's interesting today is you can look at all these wine areas and see these designations, and first of all, this bottle here is about 10 USD. This bottle here is probably 14 USD, and then this IGT wine is probably about 22, and I think the Prosecco is running about 13 USD. So you can see that the DOCGs were the least expensive of this, and the IGT wine here is not. But that is not necessarily an absolute way of looking at wine, saying I'm going to get the DOCGs always, because you wouldn't be drinking the Negro Amaro from this wine from Puglia, or maybe you're not going to be trying the Aglianico from Campania. So there are different ways of looking at this, and I can look at my wine reviews and say that there is not necessarily consistency. That is, the DOCG wines don't always rank the highest, and the IGT wines sometimes rank much higher, in fact, than the DOC or DOCG wine. So it depends on the producer. And I think we had to get to this system in order to get to production quality levels that were for a standard that the consumer is desiring to pay for, i.e. the consumer is not willing to pay for something that's not a qualified wine, something that's not has some qualifications and quality systems in place to create a great quality, wondrous wine. So I think that is the distinction here. So don't get tripped up in it, and don't also feel because you get an IGT wine that you shouldn't take that to a dinner party. So let's not get into that confusing state of this wine is superior to this one. But great standards in place. For more wine reviews, please go to jamesthewineguy.com. Please subscribe to my videos on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Vimeo, Google+, and Pinterest. Salud.